And welcome back to the 9th episode of The Lab. Sitting with me today is Father Wierig.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pastor.
I know. And Alex Trotter. Gonna hit you guys a little bit of a kind of a Q&A today, kind of asking Brandon and Alex a little bit of what they think about functional fitness. So it's kind of a new fad term that's kind of come around here in the last few years, kind of rose up to prominence when CrossFit kind of came into being, and people were kind of trying to put functional fitness in kind of a variety of different definitions, and I'm just going to kind of read a few here that I've just kind of found. First one is just from the Trifecta website. They have a what is functional fitness, and they have it as it's used to promote the idea that strength training and muscle memory built during workouts will translate into everyday life. Then they go on to say that in everyday lives, really not everybody, we need strength, mobility, and balance. So that's how they define it. Going over to OPEX's website, they have what is functional strength training defined in sample workouts in there. So they just kind of define it as a form of exercise that focuses on developing strength and patterns that are used in everyday life. This type of training involves free weights, gymnastic movements, and aerobic training. The word functional highlights how this type of training helps build a body that is better suited for the requirements of daily life, and strength underlies how this type of training creates a body that is better at producing force. So, a little bit of a different definition. And then going over to Anytime Fitness's website, they go on to define it basically as a type of strength training that readies your body for daily activities, so sensing a little bit of a trend there. But then they go on to basically say that the exercises equip you for the most important type of physical fitness, that kind that preps you for real life, which, no definition on that one. Daily living stuff, by the way, guys. Bending, twisting, lifting, loading, pushing, pulling, squatting, and hauling. Most of these functional fitness contains multi-joint movement patterns that involve your knees, hips, spine, elbows, wrists, and shoulders, which all build strength and improve your range of motion. It all comes down to being practical, but don't mistake that for boring. So, after reading those definitions off for you all, hit me with it. What comes to the top of your mind when I start reading off? Well, what do you think of functional fitness, first of all?
You want me to start?
Absolutely.
I feel like the definition of that changes every year. All of a sudden, it's always been kind of like your exercises for your daily activities and stuff like that. And it seems like when I was in school, it was we just kind of talked about the 7 movements: your push, your pull, your squat, your hinge, your lunge, rotation. Then we always threw in like basic gait patterns for the 7th. But it always was body weight stuff. You know, and now they're trying to throw in, the strength portion of it, which is just a traditional style of training. The way we always explained it was pretty much the difference between traditional and functional. Just you have a barbell, you have dumbbells, you have all this stuff, and now you can kind of see that for a certain clientele, functional is there, but that clientele I feel is kind of small. And your Anytime Fitnesses and things like that are kind of losing a big population on that. So now they're trying to sit here and they're throwing in the weight stuff of it, which is just kind of just a traditional strength training.
Thank you.
And then not something I do a whole lot with. I don't do a whole lot of FMS stuff. But I'll do like an overhead squat. This is kind of, you can just sit there and you can learn a lot about somebody's mobility from body weight, functional style movements. Figure out where weaknesses are, figure out what side of the body's tighter, ankles, hips, knees, things like that. Shoulders, yeah. But that's where I'll start. I'll let Alex kind of bounce off that or put his input in.
No, I think you covered a lot of what I was going to say. I think it comes down to like a very niche market. So as far as functional training, I would maybe do that to an extent with like some of the kids that are under 10, 11, 12, just because I want to see like how their bodies are reacting under certain stresses and under certain movements. But the thing about it is like kids are very adaptive. So all you really got to do is like show them once, maybe twice, and they have better range of motion than anybody I've ever seen. You know, so
True.
that's a plus. Obviously, like older patients, you know, you're getting into like your geriatrics and stuff like that. Because obviously you can't break down their muscles to the point because their hormones levels are like so changing and so drastic of a drop that if you break down their muscles enough, then you know they're not going to get that recovery time. Well, then now you have Gertrude that can't do her freaking hair, you know, because her arms are shot. So then she doesn't want to leave the house, and then it just spirals down from there. But I don't know. I think it's a marketing tool. I think it's crap. That the way that some of these companies are wording the exercises and wording the training methodologies. Good Lord, that's a big word.
Another stroke for Alex.
I think that was the energy drink talking. That it just makes people think that they're doing something productive when in reality you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to cause the body stress in order to adapt and overcome with changes. You know, you can get better mobility by like using more weight to push you into that range of motion further. You know, there's a laundry list of things.
True. Very true.
I just hate it because I feel like it just takes advantage of people.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
So we use it. We kind of mixture it into our training with the kids, but it's either warm up. You know, you can warm up for bench doing push-ups. You can just do a couple air squats, get your legs and knees kind of going for squats or deadlifts, and then I'll use it more as a finisher than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing worse than you've already kind of maybe gassed out. You know, your chest and shoulders and, you know, triceps, just say a full upper body push day, and then, you know, all of a sudden you got do 2 sets of as many push-ups as you can do or something like that. I even do just body weight lunges. I mean, you can get a great metabolic effect going from like just a 5-10 minute window of just straight lunges. So we'll definitely use it for that. Knees, hips, hamstrings.
I have started noticing that you've been doing that with a few kids, and it's all carried over to a lot. Even when I've noticed when they started going to the speed portions that like you're handling, they're moving better. They're getting more range.
If you get your hips and shoulders and stuff all to rise together, I mean, it translates into a sprint very well.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to have the hips and the hamstring strength to be able to do that and things like that. People don't realize that a lot of it's for them. It's just it's a mind game. Like, okay, I'm do this one thing. It's not quite like your squat to kettlebell where you switch it. You got 5 minutes of that. It's just one thing, and we got a 66-yard strip of turf. The old building, it was 35-yard strip of turf. So for 5 minutes, you're just lunging back and forth, and it's a mind game where
it feels like that whole
you're tired and stuff,
ending.
but it's like you done 3 down the backs, and it's been a minute and a half, and you're just like kind of got to go to that place a little bit, and then, you know, maybe next week you go from 5 minutes to 7.5, and then we try to max them out around 10 minutes. But I mean, just they go from having a hard time walking week 1 to, you know, you add time, and then it's like nothing, and then you do 2 minutes or 10 minutes week 3, and then it's like, okay, I'm not even sore anymore. So kind of like that mental aspect of, okay, I can do that, and then they'll see the difference too.
And they almost chase it when it's removed. So they chase that feeling now. Like they're putting more intensity and effort into their lifts with the weights because they understand that, oh, hey, I can go to that place and nothing bad happens.
I'm safe here, even though it sucks.
But you probably use it definitely more than we do. I mean, we're lucky enough that we can fill our whole day with just straight up sport performance athletes to where, I mean, we do have a couple girls on crutches right now, and I'm sure that whenever you go from an ACL to you take away the locked 180-degree brace away, and then you got to ease back into a squat. I'm sure that's something that you can go into more detail.
I don't know if I would necessarily call that like functional training, though.
I functionally want to use my leg again, Luke.
Yeah. I mean, functionality and then what they're kind of defining, though, I feel like is a little different. Like in terms of like functional like strength training. That to me, I don't know. I just feel like it's like a misnomer where like I could have someone that, let's say they're having a really hard time standing up from a chair. Weak glutes. I have them do a few bridges. We start working on standing up after that. It's a lot easier. Oh, that's funny. Was there anything functional about the bridge that we did? No, I just took someone who was really weak, and now all of a sudden it translates into that functional movement pattern. Like, that's why I've never been, like, married to the FMS either. Mm-hmm. I do not like the scoring system. I've never liked how they put it as, like, a functional movement, because it's, like, technically all the movements you do in life are...
You just standing there is functional.
Yeah, thank you.
Your abs are engaged, or you're going to crap your pants. Like, it's... I don't know.
Like, kind of like going off like what you were saying, it's a marketing tool. So, like, as soon as someone sees, like... In all honesty, I think when people see that word functional, they think that it's going to be something like super special, and now it's going to be like something better that they're not going to have to work as hard for, because whatever they're picking and choosing is better than what a regular strength training program is going to be, and that's just not the case. It's the fact that they even included gymnastic movements in one of those definitions was a little odd to me, because I mean, not many people are going to want to try gymnastic movements, correct?
No. Like I have a pommel horse at the end of my bed. You know, I have rings just randomly throughout the house.
Some people do.
Enjoy your style, man.
Some people do. I just think, like you were saying, the marketing tool is there. I guess, I mean, even looking at like, big bodybuilding guy. Well, was really big into CrossFit, but now he has this. So his name is Marcus Philly. He has this program. He has Revival Strength out in California. But he has this program called Functional Bodybuilding. But when you look at it, it's really just isolation exercises that he's labeled now as functional. But it's really just about targeting the weak areas and applying it and then building an intensity to a CrossFit program. So like seeing that and how they've kind of like almost, I don't want to say manipulated, because manipulated is not like the right way, but like they've marketed it in such a way to almost like persuade people to give it a shot. Because let's be honest, in certain regards to CrossFit, they don't necessarily always train isolation movements. They're really good on compound and Olympic lifting, and they get into the gymnastic movements. But sometimes when people have a weakness, they are not as keen to go into that isolation training and actually work on that weakness and then apply it to their compound movements. Mm-hmm. So like that's why I have to, sometimes the people I see, we just start working on, like, let's say overhead catching absolutely sucks. And I work on external rotation strength, lat flexibility. Next thing you know, they can catch in the overhead, no problem. That I think is just, for some reason, just goes over the head. I don't understand why. So that's why I think when they start labeling it as like a functional kind of thing, it just kind of cracks me up. Because it's really just strength training, just broken down even further.
Well, it's like everything. You start out like functional, okay, that only maybe gets to so many people, and then all of a sudden you want to advance it, so maybe you're going to try to go from a functional to a high-intensity interval training, body weight, things like that. And all of a sudden that's kind of, you want to advance it even more, so you go CrossFit. So pretty much what CrossFit is a high intensity interval training. Now you're adding a barbell.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to keep, you're always going to, they've got things, too many subcategories just to target each person instead of just calling it training.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I think sometimes, you could even break that even more. You can go into that,
100%.
Like way more. But no, I agree with you.
I think a well-rounded training program has all of it. I mean, we target. We've got all those components into all of our training programs. Like we have aspects of bodybuilding. We have aspects of the high-intensity interval training. We have Olympic lifts. We have compound movements to work on different weaknesses, and we just kind of target all of that based off what the athlete needs. That's how we kind of arrange our programs.
It's definitely pretty nice to have all of that all in one. I wish people would stop breaking down like training into like CrossFit, Olympic. I mean, depending on what you want to compete in, I guess, depending on that.
Sport specific. That's what we really rely on. 100%. Or a joke.
But like, for like the general public, but like you don't have to do CrossFit. You don't have to do Olympic weightlifting. You can do powerlifting. Like you can do whatever you enjoy. But at the end of the day, like if you just want to be like, generally in shape, if you're just lifting heavy all the time, you're not really ever addressing cardio, things of that nature. Like I've got a few like guys, construction workers, stuff like that, who Guy can lift like 200 pounds, no problem. I have him walk on a treadmill for 5 minutes. He is winded like crazy.
That's not true. I got a little bit of GPP.
So it's like things like that. So
I'm gonna sweat a lot, but I'll get it done.
But like, I wish that was available to the general public, like that kind of knowledge. To like know, like, okay, cardiovascular, power, strength, overall strength. I mean, you could even break that strength down into speed as well. But then, like, I just feel like it's lost. I don't know. Could be better.
Social media plays a huge role in that.
Yeah.
I mean, you sit there and watch all these people doing this, and this. You got the world's strongest man, then you got like David Goggins, then you got Mark Wahlberg's wakes up at 3 a.m. type thing. I mean, everybody has.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody wants a certain body, but either they're never going to be able to achieve it because they don't have the genetics for it, let alone the work capacity or the discipline to get there, and things like that. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with just being healthy.
Thank you.
Everybody wants just like I'm in that category of wanting to be take everything to the next level. But when it comes to the day where you have the rest of your life, I mean, you still want to be able to play with your kids at 30 and grandkids at 60.
Did you say at 30?
I'll be 28, 29, but that's
God, I'm 31. You made me sound like I'm just like an ancient, like, crypt keeper. I'm going to play with your kids at 30. I'm 31.
I've already got friends having back surgery at 27.
Christ.
Could always be worse, but I mean,
that's not good. That's not good at all. Dear Lord.
So.
No, but we pretty much nailed that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think I would want to see like a more concrete definition if they're going to keep using functional fitness. Not everybody throwing their own 10 cents on what it is.
I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
I mean, like my functional fitness is going to be different than what yours is required and what Brandon's is required. That it's different for everybody, just like everybody's body is different. How they handle stress is different. How their food intake is different, and how it changes based upon like the genetics. Your metabolism. There's a ton of stuff that's so different. But I don't know. It's if you're just pushing yourself in any capacity in some sort of workout regimen, then your body's going to change, and like that's functional for you, and like that's what I think just needs to be explained. This is a functional training for you specifically. So
yeah, I was actually when I was at the doctor's earlier this week.
Yeah.
Guy's 72, I think he was, and he said he just started having a personal trainer start coming to his house, and in the last month he's kind of just increasing just some basic dumbbell work, nothing crazy, just moving, increases cardiovascular fitness, and he said just his energy level just throughout the day at his office is just gone through the roof.
Yeah,
and that's at 72 years old.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet. How many people want to start fitness at that age?
Well, the dude's picture on the wall of the family, it was growing and growing. I mean, I think there was like 20 some.
Yeah.
And so I think he had like 5 or 6 kids, and at that point I think he had 10 or 12 grandkids, and you want to keep up. If you slow down, if you stop, you're gonna at that age you're very quickly just gonna decline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
But I think that's everybody has a different wake up call.
Yeah,
like there's. I don't know. You get to that age, and then suddenly, like you're down on the ground, like playing with your green. This is from like an experience that like my friend's dad had. His dad was probably 60, 65, but had worked construction his whole life. So he went down on the ground to play with like his first grandkid, and just like struggled getting back up. And did that like 2 or 3 times, and then suddenly like he went to PT and stuff like that. But
wait, he went where?
He went to PT.
Aha.
Yeah. And then just started like from there, like progressing. So then now he does like a little bit more of like a routine and all that. But, it's just a generation thing. Like my grandpa, you might as well kick rocks if you try to get him to do anything.
no chance.
Like it's just not going to happen there. His pain threshold's through the roof. Like, he doesn't ever think anything's wrong with him. You know, like I've literally witnessed him changing a tire and just ripped his whole bicep off and looks down at it and goes, that's going to hurt. And then just like went and got a new wrench and just cranked it with the other arm. It's just like, oh, okay. Like, you're just built different. Like,
Oh my God.
but it's just, I don't know. I think it's just a generation thing. I think when our generation potentially gets older, it'll either be a drastic change. It'll either be like a 50-50 split down the middle. You're going to have 50% of us that just aren't going to do shit all the time until they're dead. And then 50% of us is going to just try to squeeze out another month or two of life, you know, and hopefully, like, you know, make it like worth living. Because I tell Steph all the time, like, if I'm down to where, like, an old age where, like, I can't move on my own, I can't wipe my own ass, like, that kind of thing, like, I have to rely on somebody else to dress me, just, like, take me out back and shoot me. So I'd rather die.
Oh, yeah.
That got graphic quick.
I was gonna say you made it really dark, real fast. Holy crap! No, but no, it's pretty good. I think in terms of next week, guys, we'll probably get a little bit more into some of the Q&As again. Probably put out another little post about little questions, maybe if you guys want to kind of see that.
This will be the first post of 2023.
Oh, geez, you're right.
Unless you do it tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
You're right, dude. Luke can't edit that fast.
Hey,
He can.
you know what time I have available to me? I'm pretty good.
That's
But,
very true.
But no, guys, we will see you next year. Hope everyone has a happy New Year. Hope everyone had a happy Christmas or Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. But yeah, take care, everyone.
Go Bucks.